Bitter criticism. I um, I have like 300 pages to read of full of news, so I'm not gonna make it. I'm not gonna make it, but I will try. I will try to read something. Actually, I left. I didn't read a lot of things from Portuguese in Portuguese, but I have a lot of news in English too now from yesterday. Yesterday or 2 days ago, June 6, June 17, home Russia and former Soviet Union. Zelensky's peace conference will go down in history, but not in the way you might think. The gathering in Switzerland could become a rare thing, which is forgotten about now, but remember as a significant decades later. By Sergei Poletaev, information analyst and publicist, co-founder and editor of the VAD4 project. Summit on Ukraine at the Borgenstock resort near Lucerne. Gabriel Boric is there, look. We have a summit on Ukraine. Yeah, I guess it's Gabriel Boric. What about that? June 16. What a shame. Yeah, so for you to understand what Chile is worse than Ukraine, I guess. I'm not sure about, but Chile is just bad as Ukraine geopolitically. You know, this guy Gabriel Boric. He used to be he should be a left winger, you know, a left winger. But as you can see, he's just a Zelensky. Look, we have Zelensky and Gabriel Boric together. And here we go with Luna. But I guess it's better like this, look. Here we go with Luna, the athlete. It's strange because I think the horizon is not so great, but it's fine. That's Luna from Fifth Sector. I will not say it's mine because it's not. It's like he's a public dog. Yeah, she's popular, you know. She lives on the street, but people care about her. I guess it's not a bad deal to be a dog in Chile, you know. A lot of people care about dogs, including myself. But anyway, this news is not about Gabriel Boric, but I just comment because unfortunately I am a Chilean, but I have Italian citizenship, you know. And I'm not seeing Meloni here. I'm not seeing Meloni here. So this is so Ursula von der Leyen is so lame, I guess. All the European Union is so lame that I guess Giorgia Meloni is not there. That's what I think, you know. There's nobody here. Look, just Zelensky, Gabriel Boric, and Justin Trudeau. So no France, no Germany. Just understand what's going on. Europe is going far right, And who is supporting imperialism? Who is supporting globalism? Chile, Canada. Nobody, understand? Anyway, there was nothing memorable about it. It didn't even produce a notable meme, despite the hype. Vladimir Zelensky's peace summit in Switzerland. Vladimir Zelensky's peace summit in Switzerland was rather uneventful and is likely to be forgotten in a couple of weeks or even days. One could certainly mock the summit's agenda. Some say the most important event was the banquet or the participants, which included the International Boxing Association, the Minister for the National Disability Insurance, the Minister of the National Disability Insurance Scheme of Australia, and the Minister of Correctional Services from New Zealand, and the possible belief of some that Russian President Vladimir Putin was the main speaker. He proposed his own peace plan the day before. We could also note that some countries refused to sign the final communique while others withdrew their signatures and so on. However, Russia Today forgot Gabriel Boric. I understand, Gabriel Boric is not so great. One could certainly mock the summit's agenda, yeah. However, it may turn out that the summit in Switzerland could still go down in history, and in the future, historians will call the failure of Kiev's diplomacy a turning point that marked the beginning of major changes in the world. Classic and contemporary diplomacy. Go, Oliver Kahn. Mursi looks like Oliver Kahn. Not from Switzerland, but the German goalkeeper. His face looks. Mursi is like a German dog, an Oliver Kahn dog. I'm afraid that Mursi swallowed the stone. I hope not. Anyway, however, it may turn out that the summit in Switzerland could still go down in history, and in the future, historians will call the failure of Kiev's diplomacy a turning point that marked the beginning of a major changes in the world. Classic and contemporary diplomacy. We have a subtitle, a chapter, I guess. Classic and contemporary diplomacy. Let's talk theory for a moment. Over there, there's smoke over there. I don't know if it's smog or fog. Can you see over there? Classic and contemporary diplomacy. Let's talk theory for a moment. There are two kinds of people negotiations. First, there is the classic kind that developed over the centuries. Two countries engaged in war. One of the parties gains the upper hand and imposes its will on the other. The war ends when one or both sides realize that the price of continuing hostilities is greater than that of concluding peace. At this point, diplomats step in. I don't know what's going on now. I don't know if there are cheetahs there. Anyway, yeah, go away. This is no. I don't know what's going on. The war ends when one or both sides realize that the price of continuing hostilities is greater than that of concluding peace. At this point, diplomats step in. Their task is to determine, I guess it's nothing though, determine the most favorable conditions for both sides. There have been many examples in history when a country that lost a war managed to conclude peace with minimal bloodshed after incurring minor or even symbolic losses. Then we have another from Fyodor Lukyanov. Here's why this weekend's Ukraine Peace Conference is a sham. However, after World War II, and with the advent of the UN era, the concept of war was replaced in international law by that of armed conflict, while in the past, countries often resorted to war to solve their problems. After the catastrophe of World War II, a global policeman emerged whose task was to stop armed conflicts by force if necessary, pull the participants apart and resolve the contradictions at the negotiating table. Classic peace treaties became a thing of the past and gave way to endless peace processes under the auspices of the UN and other international organizations, such as being the case in Palestine, Korea, Cyprus, Kashmir, West Africa, the Balkans, the republics of the former USSR. In some cases, this strategy worked and helped end the hot phase of a conflict and establish peace, while in others it led to decades of bloodshed. However, we must note that following 1945, the chain of causations was broken, and there was no longer a direct link between the result of combat and the result of peace negotiations. This is from Pepe Escobar Telegram, by the way. However, while things changed on paper, post-war reality was still determined by the balance of power. Such was the case in Korea, but both sides were exhausted and neither won. Palestine, nobody could expel Israel from occupied territories, which it was not willing to leave. And Vietnam, the US de facto lost the war and their ally was left at the mercy of the winning side. After the end of Cold War, the US became the world's sole deep policeman and decided that it could do anything it wanted. In Yugoslavia, Afghanistan, and Iraq, Washington acted on the same principle. America is right and everyone else is wrong. How it started. This is a subtitle. How it started. For this reason, several generations of politicians came to believe that if they enlisted the support of Washington, they could use any peace process to turn the course of a given conflict in their favor, no matter what happened on the battlefield. For the past 10 years, Ukraine's diplomacy has been based on this postmodern concept. Let's briefly recall the chronology of the conflict in that country. The 2014-15 war in Donbass de facto ended with Kiev's defeat and the signing of the Minsk agreements. However, backed by the US, Ukraine did not comply with the terms, and it became another hopeless peace process that, instead of solving contradictions, only swept them under the rug. As a guarantor of the deal, Russia tried to force Ukraine to comply with the terms in February 2022. At the same time, it wanted to press the West to stop supporting Ukraine. The result was the proposed Istanbul Peace Treaty. The proposed Istanbul Peace Treaty, a compromise which would have been beneficial to everyone. Had it been implemented, Ukraine's statehood could have been preserved and even strengthened. Russia would have been provided with the buffer zone that is required, while Europe would have been guaranteed peace, and the US could have retained its authority and prolonged the existence of Pax Americana. However, such assumptions were quite naive. Apparently, the Kremlin still hoped that a peace process may solve the contradictions. This didn't work, and the format of the special military operations did not allow Moscow to impose its will, since it lacked sufficient forces to achieve its goals. In autumn 2022, Ukraine carried out several successful offensives near Kharkov and Kherson. At that point, a wise leader will have proposed peace on the terms that corresponded to real situation at the front, call it a success, and ended the conflict, which was a great burden for his country. I guess this is from Russia Today, actually. I guess that looks like from Russia Today, because they have some publicity, some Russian publicity, and well, I'm burning. There's too much hot today. There's too much hot today. Also, my head is too hot. You never know with this global warming. Anyway, and now it's going, and how it's going. However, Zelensky did the exact opposite. He legally prohibited himself from holding negotiations with Putin and drew up a peace formula consisting on 10 points, which basically required Moscow to surrender. This stipulated the complete withdrawal of troops to the 1991 borders. That's it. Not only from the new territories, but also from Crimea, the payment of reparations, a war crimes tribunal, and so on. Did Zelensky get dizzy from relative success and put his complete trust in the power of the US? Or was his proposal just a starting point that could have been adjusted later on? This could have been the case if the diplomatic process had continued. However, as soon as it appeared, Zelensky's peace plan formed a bubble of distorted reality around itself. At first, following the Ukrainian army's success in 2022, the West sympathized with Zelensky's ideas. Oh no, Mursi got a fast tone. At first, following the Ukrainian army's success in 2022, the West sympathized with Zelensky's idea. The US, UK, France, NATO, and many Western countries expressed support for his plan. However, words are just words, and any putative ideal is just a piece of paper, unless it leads to a real peace process. Eventually, this was launched. Zelensky's goal was to obtain the written support of as many countries as possible, and then present this document to Moscow as an ultimatum. In the past year, a number of meetings have been held in Copenhagen, June 2023, Jeddah, August 2023. I don't know where is Jeddah. Look, where is Jeddah? Is this Ukraine? Is Ukraine or something? Malta, October 2023, December 2023, Kiev, December 2023. There were others as well, which were less notable, notable 9 in total. The 10 and most grandiose was supposed to be the Switzerland summit, where Zelensky's peace formula was to be signed by the world majority. In the meantime, the situation on the battlefield changed considerably, and not in Ukraine's favor. Kiev's counteroffensive failed, and the West could not defeat Russia in the trade war. Nor could it provide enough weapons and meet Kiev's demands on the battlefield. From the start, it was an arrogant but at least noteworthy declaration. But now Zelensky's proposal has turned into idle chatter, which no one believes in. Have you cake and eat it too? The organizers of the summit in Switzerland resorted to the usual tricks they organized, and even that appeared to be global in scale, but was actually pro-Western. The plan was simple: order everyone to show up, unfurl banners, and have them clap at the right moment. No one really cared what the participants themselves thought. However, things did not go as planned. Many of those at the gathering dared to disobey the West. The resistance was not very strong. There's no reason to make a scandal right now. A scandal right now. But for the first time in decades, the West had to make a choice: either stand its ground and meet with even greater resistance, or seek compromise. The compromise didn't really work either. For the sake of appearances and obtaining the support of as many participants as possible, the agenda was reduced to 3 meaningless points. But even in this form, the most important countries of the world majority, that's it, those that are not allied with the West, either didn't go to Switzerland or didn't sign anything. Yeah, just like in the photograph, there's nobody there. And it's not just because Iraq, Brazil, India, Saudi Arabia, South Africa, Jordan, or China are greatly support, or China all greatly support Russia. No, for the most part, they don't care about it. They don't care about it that much. Simply, with each year and even month, fewer countries are ready to be at the back and call for the West. While a full-fledged row did not break out at the summit in Burgenstock, some leaders made provocative speeches. For example, the president of Kenya spoke about the illegality of appropriating Russian assets. Yeah, I didn't know that's Kenya. The Prime Minister of East Timor mentioned the hypocrisy of the West and its so-called rules-based order, and so on. Well, that was heroic, because East Timor, Portuguese speaker country is so weak, they probably will get a coup d'etat just for saying that. Yeah. Moreover, all non-Western participants stress that the fact that negotiations are not worthwhile without the equal participation of both sides of the conflict, and the conclusion of the summit, even the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine, Dmitry Kuleba, was forced to admit this. While for Zelensky, this signifies the collapse of his entire policy for the rest of the world, it may mean a turn to the classic principles of diplomacy based on the balance of power, which means there is still a chance that something may change for the better. By the way, we must know the behavior of US President Joe Biden as a smart politician. He knew everything in advance and did not go to the summit. Had he attended, it could have been a more energized event, but without him, it was simply meaningless. The elephant in the room. Putin, of course, proposed his own peace plan, just as delegates prepared to travel to Switzerland. Of course, it was immediately rejected by the West and Kiev, but nevertheless, in the new reality, Russia's position will have to be taken into account. His words made it clear that the outcome of the conflict and following it, the future world order, will be determined not by the demarcation line, but by the regime that will run Kiev after the ceasefire. If it accepts Putin's conditions, refusal of NATO membership, disarmament, and the prohibition of nationalist Ukrainian ideology, this will lead to the re-establishment of the Ukrainian state on the basis of friendly relations with Russia. Otherwise, things will go badly for Kiev. This new state may be built by the current Ukrainian elites, so it's no wonder that Putin hinted that they should overthrow Zelensky, break ties with the West, and start with a clean slate. If Moscow fails to achieve this, Kiev will remain under Western control. In this case, Ukraine, even with less territory, will remain the West's battering ram against Russia, and after a short hiatus, the conflict might resume. The third option, which unfortunately is quite likely at the moment, is that the fighting will drag on until Ukraine falls apart, is left in ruins, and the former Ukrainian lands and the remaining population are gradually absorbed by neighboring countries. There is also a fourth scenario, a major escalation of the conflict, direct hostilities with NATO, and unpredictable nuclear consequences. The only thing that's off the table now is the fifth option, a Ukrainian military victory. The big difference is that Putin still has a chance to implement his peace formula, while Zelensky's plan has completely failed. Absolutely. And well, it's a shame that Gabriel Boric is there with this clown, with this satirical figure. I mean, satirical figures are smart, at least, you know, but this guy is not. Well, this news was from CGTN, in fact. It was 90 pages. Maybe it's not my archive, you know. Maybe I'm reading a late... Yeah, I guess I don't have the... Yeah, I was reading an old file. I have a whole new file here full of Pepe Escobar articles, but that was great anyway. Look, I have articles from The Cradle, I guess. Yeah. Pepe Escobar article. Yeah, our second best. I always try to find Timur Fomenko's article, but it's been a week now, and I have right here. I have Bradley Blankenship. So I'm gonna read Pepe Escobar and then Bradley Blankenship from CGTN. The Bradley Blankenship. The summer of living dangerously. The summer of living dangerously for Pepe Escobar. Going to Ukraine, you know. Going to Donbass. By Tyler Burden, Sundays, June 16, 2024. Authored by Pepe Escobar. So Le Petit Roi in Paris was predictably crushed in the European pools. Oh no, there's a dog there. Unfortunately, Milou is rejecting him. Milou! Oh no, Milou is in danger too, you know. That's it, guys. Somehow, somewhat, Milou didn't cross the road. But you know, I guess that dog, there's a dog there. Milou! So right now, yeah, goodbye. Milou is in dangerous. Milou! Yeah, unfortunately, Milou is just protecting the emergency line. Milou is protecting the emergency line from outsiders. Tommy, cállate, Tommy. No, the dog just crossed the. Look, the dog is already. Milou will follow the dog. Yeah, look, the dog is up the hill, and Milou is following him. I hope Milou to learn to cross this road because it's not that hard. They're just slow trucks. Slow big trucks, that's the problem, you know. But Milou wants to make friends with the dog. Well, Milou lost the dog. The dog is just outside. Anyway, Milou is fine. He has called parliamentary snap elections. Le Petit Roi. Macron dissolving the Assemblée Nationale in an act of blind puerile revenge on French citizens, de facto attacking French institutional democracy. I guess, you know, but democracy, in my opinion, democracy is just I have to be to support Macron because that's what the government should do, you know. I guess Macron is right here. He is right in this case. Yeah, because it shows personality, it shows energy. You know, try to do something. I guess it's not illegal. You know, I guess it's not illegal. I'm tired of by this time I'm tired of seeing left-winger presidents in South America losing the government by stupid things, you know, with no personality. Anyway, and we have a photograph of Macron. That doesn't mean much anyway, because the lineaments of liberty, equality, fraternity have long been usurped by a crass oligarchy. Yeah. So yeah, just like Pepe said that right here. And you know, liberty, equality, fraternity, they are relative concepts, you know. Everybody can say like North Korea, they say they are democratic. I agree with that, you know. Look, I guess North Korea, they are more democratic than the whole free world. The whole free. If I had the money, I will go. I will migrate to North Korea. But I don't have the money. The second round of these fresh French elections will be on July 7, nearly coinciding with the British snap elections on July 11, and only a few days before the slow burning urban catastrophe, which will be the Olympics in Paris. Paris saloons are ablaze with intrigue on why the little Rothschild stooge with a Napoleon complex is throwing all his toys out of the pram now because he's not getting what he wants. Yeah, I will repeat, you know, I'm tired of watching Dilma Rousseff and the Peruvian president, for example. I don't remember the Peruvian name, the Peruvian president's name. He's in jail. And right now, Daniel Jadwe is in jail too. Lula was in jail. So why not do something creative, you know? Why not fight back, just like Macron? That's my opinion. I guess Macron is right. I mean, I'm not supporting his ideology, but do something, I guess, more than right or wrong. This shows how smart, how competitive is bourgeoisie, you know, bourgeoisie, because it's bourgeoisie who is backing Macron. Milou, thank you. Milou just defended us against a friendly dog. Well done, Milou. Thank you for defend us all against a harmless dog. Could be our friend, Milou. No, Milou start barking the dog, but then but this is the way Milou have to be friends, you know. That's the truth. Anyway, after all, what he really craves is to become a war president, together with the cadaver in the White House, Starmer in the US, in the UK. Starmer, I don't know what Starmer is, but this is Richie Sunak, isn't it? Anyway, I don't know what is Starmer. I hope it's not racist. I'm sure it's not. Rutte in the Netherlands and the toxic Medusa von der Leyen in Brussels. Tusk in Poland without having no other to the French people. It's nearly certain that Le Petit Roi will be facing the real prospects. I'm not sure about Milou, you know. Oh no, Milou just saw the dog over there. Now Milou knows where the dog is. And there he goes. I know Milou will be friend with the dog, you know. But the dog is just gone uphill. The dog is lost, you know. The dog wants to go back the other side of the road. But the way the dog took is not the way, you know. You know, there's no way there. It's just too high. Maybe the dog will not die, but it's just too high. Anyway, so the dog found another and the female dogs just don't care about, you know. Female dogs are less harmful than less adventurous, you know. They just want to make gymnasts. It's nearly certain that Le Petit Roi will be facing the real prospect of becoming a lame duck president who needs to obey a right-wing parliament. Elysee Palace chatter already joined the circus, conveying the impression he might resign. That was later denied. Still, if Le Petit Roi runs off to war on Russia, no French citizens will follow him. List off all the pitiful French army. Bigger things though are in play following the auspicious game-changing messages to the global majority coming out of the St. Petersburg Forum last week. Anchored on openness and inclusiveness, the BRICS 10 meeting of foreign ministers in Nizhny Novgorod carried the baton early this week. Foreign Minister Lavrov stressed 3 key points. 1. The countries of the global south no longer want to be dependent on the double standards of the West and its whims. Second, everyone knows that the BRICS countries already serve as the locomotive of the world economy. 3. We at the BRICS foreign ministers meetings stress the need for consistent efforts to create a new world order, where the equality of independent states will be the key. Milou! Now compare it with the shrinking G7 meeting later this week in Puglia, in southern Italy. The same old song. From a tough new warning to Chinese banks, don't business with Russia or else, to vociferous threats against the China-Russia strategic partnership. And last but not least, extrapolating to scheme interests from the massive frozen stole Russian assets with the intent of sending them to country 404. The toxic Medusa itself announced that country 404 will receive the country Ukraine, will receive 1.5 billion euros of the income from stolen Russian assets from the EU in July, 19%. Yeah, that's so bad, you know. They are stealing. I don't like stealing, you know. I guess stealing is so bad. They are stealing the assets, not just the interest. That's terrible. Billion of the income from stolen Russian assets from the EU in July, 90% of it to buy weapons. You know, the world is so the people in the world just lost the patience, you know, are voting far right here in Chile too. Nobody likes this shit of NATO, you know, stealing money, you know. What the hell is this? Stealing assets. This is savage. This is savagery, you know. So yeah, people should keep destroying this system, you know. People should I don't know, I guess even far right wing, they will in the world, countries like Chile, against Boric, everybody will do something, you know, like, I don't know, well, terrible things like civil war, for example. I guess I'm supporting civil war right here in Chile. What about that? I guess that will be healthy, you know. That will be healthier than whatever is happening. And now I'm going whatever Boric is doing, you know, whatever Boric is doing, I guess I'm gonna vote the right wing. Listen this. I guess I'm gonna vote right wing for civil war, you know, because I guess that will be better than a lot of things. And well, I will just keep my campaign for free
Nuevo especial del diario El Ágora.net.
free Daniel Jadue.
Que hemos tenido con diferentes personalidades, tanto de la realidad y del acontecer en Chile. Y se terminó, ¿verdad?
Entonces, aquí hay que hacerse cargo. Sí, hay mucho que empaten contra el PC, porque esperan que el PC, con el porcentaje que tiene, cambie la sociedad, mientras los otros se quedan en la casa cómodamente sentados, hablando en contra de los partidos, en contra de la política y no queriendo participar en nada. Bueno, nosotros tenemos una opción distinta. Hay que participar en todos los espacios que se van abriendo, hay que disputarlos todos, pero...
No, I'm not gonna do my yoga because of lack of time.
Por ejemplo, mira qué distinto es la experiencia Recoleta. ¿Sabes por qué?
I'm just gonna free
Porque
Tommy.
se gana con 65% y tiene 2/3 del Consejo Municipal. Y por eso hicimos farmacia.
Tommy, stay here. Don't go with me, Lou. Don't go with me, Lou. Bad company, Milou, bad company. Fighting the poor dogs. But you know, I guess Milou was just trying to be together with the... Milou is gay, you know. Milou is some time ago. Milou, I mean yesterday, he finally have a date with his a male boyfriend. Milou used to love that dog, but the dog didn't like him. But I guess that was because of Tommy, because we're always with Tommy too. And the dogs are afraid of Tommy, and so that's why Milou's boyfriend didn't love him before.